Setting it straight with fam. This is me, Bobby B, with my boys, Joshua and Jordan, here to set it straight. Because you know how we do it. And we're going to sit here and we're going to talk about them Dallas Cowboys today. We're going to look at them and watching how the world is doing everything, and we just sitting down on a porch and looking at everything happening. I don't know what's going on right now. But I tell you what, though, we're going to talk about it today. And my boys going to sit up here. We're going to explain all of the things that we got going on. We're going to talk about those additions. We're going to talk about the rumors. There's a lot of rumors going on out there. Talk about the returns. Yeah, we actually got people that's coming back. And then we're going to talk about the releases. Oh, my God, the releases, man. We losing folks and the losses. Oh, man, and that's, you know, these losses, man, this is touching my soul right now. I don't even know what to do right now. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But I know, you know, my boys, you guys are going to tell us, you know, what's going to happen, and you're going to talk about this. And Joshua, I know you're going to let us know, you know, you're going to give it to me straight. You know, it's going to hurt some of them. Some of them, I'm kind of happy that it went that way. But, you know, it is what it is. So, come on, guys. Let me know. Joshua, what you got? Give me some literature over here, my man.
All right. So, Dallas Cowboys. So, the Dallas Cowboys added Eric Kendricks. He's the linebacker, middle linebacker. He's going to be the middle linebacker for the Dallas Cowboys. The returns are going to be Jordan Lewis. They just re-signed Jordan Lewis, the cornerback. He's going to be your nickel corner. C.J. Goodwin, special teams ace. Also re-added to the team, and your long snapper, Trent Sieg. The releases were Michael Gallup. That was kind of expected. It was being a post-June 1 cut. And Leighton Vander Esch also expected due to medical issues. The losses that the Dallas Cowboys had due to free agency and their pickup was Tony Pollard went to the Tennessee Titans. Torrance Armstrong went to the Washington Wizards. With Washington Commanders, guys. Tyler Biadasz also went to the Washington Commanders. Seems to be a trend going on here.
It's Wizard Kelly, y'all.
Dante Fowler, Washington Commanders again.
Wow.
Also a Dan Quinn signing.
You might as well call them the Washington Cowboys.
I know, right?
Neville Gallimore, your interior defensive player. He was a rotational player. He went to Miami Dolphins, and Tyron Smith went to the New York Jets.
Tyron Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah, can we get taps one time for Tyron Smith? 13 years for the Dallas Cowboys, 8-time Pro Bowler, 2-time, I think it's 3 times now. 3-time All-Pro left tackle, future Hall of Famer, number 77, Tyron Smith. Salute.
Wow.
Salute.
A sad day. A sad day.
Sad.
All
Hey, but
right,
I'm happy
all
for Tyron. Happy for Tyron, though. You know, 1 year deal with the Jets, up to $20 million. So hey, can't be too sad for him.
I mean, that's a lot of cash. It's a lot of cash right there.
Yeah, you know, but I was just hoping he'd retire, you know, at Dallas, though. You know what I mean?
Dallas ain't want to pull the trigger, so.
Man, come on, man. I mean, he has been the unsung hero, man, for a long time, even though with the injuries. You know, I mean, to be honest, I was ready to pull his cord, you know, a few years back because he was always injured. But then, you know, this last year, almost as if like, okay, this is my last year. I'm about to get paid. I'm gonna make sure I be in all games. And how many games did he miss this year? How many games?
Yeah.
How many games did he miss?
Like two. I think he missed like 2 games.
2 games, man.
Might have
Come
even
on.
been just 1.
I mean, gee, Willikers. And then those 2 games really wasn't something bad. But man, I mean, do you guys feel that we have someone Pro Bowl effect? Because even this dude still being a Pro Bowler, you know, at this level.
I mean, he was all pro. He was all pro this year, and all pro this year, and a pro. I don't know if he was in Pro Bowl, but he was an all pro on the All Pro team. And shout out to Tyron Smith because he's from the IE, so Inland Empire, representing. You
Woo
know what
woo,
I'm saying?
represent, player. But man, that is something else, though, man. I mean, I hate to see that. I hate to see him.
I think we all wanted Tyron Smith to finish his years out with the. I think it was just the fact that this is not how we wanted him to go out, and then especially with us not having someone to take his spot.
Right, exactly.
If you don't think that Tyler Smith can play left tackle, you want to keep him at guard. But yeah. I mean, the Dallas, I feel like they just did it wrong, right? You had for the past 4 years, I would say, you knew like, hey, let's get somebody to back up Tyron Smith if he's not ready to go, and then if he's not ready to retire, or you try to, I mean, keep him on. I don't know. Yeah, it kind of stinks because it's like you don't like we didn't want DeMarcus Ware in another jersey,
Right.
and DeMarcus Ware was in a way better situation than Tyron Smith was as far as health wise.
Right.
So yeah, it's it's one of those sad things. See a player go. It's part of the game.
Yeah, it's sad,
especially
man.
Dallas, because we don't get new players. We only keep our drafted players, and root for the draft. So yeah. So Tyron Smith, man.
And not only that, I was along with Tyron. There was two people that I didn't want to leave. And Tony Pollard is one of the one I didn't think they was going to get rid of.
Tony Pollard is another one. I was like, oh man.
Yeah,
Tony Pollard.
I didn't think that he was get rid of him, man. I really didn't. And to be honest about it, I was hoping that they were to go and have a complimentary, player with Tony Pollard by getting Henry, getting Henry to have that smash, smash mouth, guy to come through, and then Tony just finessed it all the way to the edges. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought was going to happen. They have to go there. It makes way too much sense. I mean, why would you not do that? You got Tony Pollard, you can pick up Henry, and he's available. I mean,
what's the old adage, the old phrase? If it don't make dollars,
it don't make sense. Yeah, I get it.
Well, in this case, it makes too much dollars, so it makes too much sense. Or it makes too much dollars, so it don't make sense for the Joneses.
So I guess so. I think the reason is you guys have to follow the money here. So in 2022, Ezekiel Elliott was the second highest paid personnel on the cap, right? Second highest paid, right? And then they're probably in their mind, right? So we just got to put on our Jerry Jones hat right now and their Stephen Jones hat right now.
Do we have to?
I'm not saying that so we have to understand. We may not have to agree, but we have to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, because this point you're about to say, I do not agree with. And I think it's
neither do I. I
don't even think it makes sense.
So Ezekiel Elliott 2022, 18 million cap hit, right? That was right below Dak Prescott with a $19 million cap hit, right? And so on top of that, we have in 2023, you had Tony Pollard. He was the number 4 highest paid. And so their output did not match, if you will, their level of, I won't say their level of play or how much they were contributing to the team's success, right? Which meaning like how many snaps were they getting? How much were they running the ball, right? How much were they contributing to first downs or touchdowns or whatever have you, right? And so they were probably.
I think I can counter that. I can counter that argument with Zeke being one of the top rushing touchdown, leaders.
2022.
Yeah, not 2022. Was it 2022? Yeah, 2022. He was.
So you have to look at it.
Top backs. He was like one of the top backs in TDs. But also, like, if you want to say that, but they have no problem with paying, and they've been doing this, paying quarterbacks way too much money. Like they paid Tony Romo, I thought way too much money to bring Tony Romo back. They paid Dak Prescott, which I figured we was gonna have to pay Dak Prescott way too much money because you didn't want to pay him before you franchise tag.
But what are we? But in that regards,
in that regards, Tony Pollard would have come out cheaper.
So what's too much money? What's too much money?
I'm saying the longer you drag it out, the more money you're gonna have to pay.
See, I don't agree with that because
if
you
you
look
didn't
at
pay, if you would have, so you're telling me if you would have paid Dak Prescott, you would have gave him an extension on his third year in the league. You're you're saying that you don't agree with that? That you wouldn't have had to pay him X amount of dollars, which was vastly more than if you would have extended him in his third year in the league.
I don't think that uh, you paying. I think the quarterback should be, especially one of the highest paid personnel on the team
I don't think. Actually, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna combat this. I
because
This is my
they
take.
get the most amount of snaps.
I do not think the quarterback should be the highest paid player on the field, unless
Who
you're
should?
unless you're one person, Patrick Mahomes, like that, and then everybody else. We need to play the market fairly because don't tell me, sit here and tell me, oh, Dak needs more weapons, or oh, you know, Brock Purdy's so good because he has all these weapons, or this person would have been better if he had, like they're talking about Justin Fields. The Bears didn't do enough for Justin Fields to put weapons around him. Well, don't tell me they need all this help, but then and then say they deserve to be the highest paid player on the team when the left tackle Tyron Smith is over here, getting bumps and bruises, and these quarterbacks that y'all paid, Romo and Dak, ain't get him no chip. So that's how I feel about it. Cause I get frustrated. Cause I'm like, okay, but we need to go and get X, Y, and Z just to make Dak better. So, and then you even said, like, on top of the play calling, like, now you even said, oh, I don't think we had a good enough play caller to put Dak in good situations. But then why are we paying him all this money? And this is not just to get on Dak. I'm talking about quarterbacks, period. Because I know there's some other quarterbacks around the league that other fans feel the same way about their quarterback. So
Right.
I don't know. Like, I
But
don't know.
market value. That's why we had to pay him market value. This is as simple as that. We had to pay him based on
I'm
market
saying
value.
if you would have paid, in market value, and I'm saying if you would have paid early rather than later, because it's always gonna be worse later. Just like if you hold off on
what's
a bill.
too much? So basically, let me stop you there. So what's too much for a quarterback to get paid? So according to the cap, like what's too much for a quarterback?
Like you're talking about right now?
I'm telling you because you're saying your counter was Dak was getting paid way too much, right? And that was the
No,
reason.
no. My counter is not my. I was not saying Dak got paid too much. I'm saying you paid Dak, and then look what you have to show for it. And then on top of that, I'm saying you could have paid Dak earlier, which in the long run would have been cheap.
Let me ask you a question again. So you said you
But
paid as in past tense, right?
but
You
that
paid
is true what
Dak.
he's saying though. That is true what he's saying though.
Hold
But
up,
go ahead.
hold up. You said you paid Dak, correct? Is that what you said?
Yes, you paid Dak.
And then you have nothing to show for it, right?
Essentially, yeah. From what our standards are, you have nothing to show for it.
So what do you mean by you? So in that case, so you're saying you paid Dak too much. So when you're saying you paid Dak too much, what does that mean?
I'm not saying you paid Dak too much. You're trying to circle on this one fact that I said you paid Dak too much. Because you are saying that because they paid running back. This all started because you said they paid the running back. So now that because they paid Zeke, they gave Zeke his deal, right? They gave Zeke his deal. Now that it's time to pay Pollard, oh, they don't want to. I think it's because they don't want to pay Pollard because of what they ran into with Zeke. And I'm saying is, why would you think that when you had paid Tony Pollard? I mean, you paid Tony Romo that crazy amount of money when he got his huge deal, and then
Okay.
you scapegoat on Dak when we knew the third year, fourth year franchise tag. You knew you had to pay him, and then when it was time to pay him, of course he's gonna set a new league market because he's the according to league value, he's gonna be and raise the bar for QBs. So that's why I'm saying now, okay, then what do you have to show for all that? Like, and then you're still telling me you need to build you need pieces to put around Dak so he can be better. So
So
that's what
yeah,
I'm
so
saying.
that's what I'm saying. You said you need basically what you're saying is that you're saying the reason why that you need pieces to put Dak or to put around Dak, right? And because of the fact the reason why you can't put the pieces around because Dak is taking too much. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that, that he's taking. I'm not saying he's taking too much of a piece of pie. I'm saying don't tell me. I'm saying don't tell us as the audience, right? Because your point was the why Pollard. Your whole point is why Pollard ain't on our team, right? That's what you're saying. Because
Okay,
they
so the
paid
reason
Zeke.
I said the
Because they
output.
paid Zeke.
I don't care how good or how bad Tony Pollard was. How much he contributed to the team's success did not weigh the
Him
amount
getting
of
paid
money he
like
was.
$8 million. You don't think it
No,
was worth
so
$8 million?
according to the cap, I'm not saying I don't think he's worth. I don't put how much a person is worth or whatever like that. If it was up to me, would all the players would get paid $100 million, right? But all I'm saying
Okay,
is
well, we're
for
not saying
them,
every player needs to get $100 million. We're saying this player, in particularly, all to be on the team. What was it? 23 million for 3 years. That's not even a fully guaranteed. I think, or was it 23 guaranteed, fully guaranteed? But essentially, eight. I think like 8 million a year.
and I understand what you're saying, right? But I'm saying is let's take the money, like the money value aside, right? We're saying this guy is getting paid the fourth highest paid on the team, right? So you would think the person is getting paid the fourth highest pay on the team, he's contributing at least
But look,
somewhat to his
oh, you're
team's
talking
success.
about the 2023 season. He was the fourth highest paid player on the team.
Yes, according to the cap hit. Yes,
Wasn't he franchise tagged?
yes, he was franchise
So what
tagged.
happens when you franchise tag a player?
Yes, I
They
100%
get
agree with you.
so
they were
that's
like,
why I'm saying you're gonna
so
pay
I don't
more
think
and end up.
I don't think it's his fault. It could also be the fault of the
Because
coordinator.
if you would have
Fault of
paid
who?
like on
The coordinator, yeah, I would say I
Who?
was wrong when it came to. Okay, we're getting out of the point here, right? The point is that this whether it was the play calling, right, or the output, right, he wasn't contributing as much to the team's success. The running game was not contributing to the team's success as much as the passing game was, right? And so that's why they were like, why do we need to pay a running back X amount of dollars, right? When, or the fourth highest paid X amount of dollars when that's not our team's MO anymore. Our team's MO is the air offense and not the run, not through the ground, right?
Yeah. It's
the
hard. It's
same
hard.
reason
It's
that,
hard
that
for me.
the
Yeah.
same the same reason why they're probably gonna take one of the top best running backs in the draft. That same reason.
I didn't say that I'm agreeing with them. I'm
I
saying
know.
this is
I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. What did we see from all these teams that were in the playoffs? What could they do? Why was Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in the NFC Championship? Why was the 49ers in the Super Bowl? Because they could run the ball. Why
yes,
why why
100%,
was Isaiah Pacheco? Everybody talking about how hard Isaiah Pacheco was running.
100%,
Because
100%.
they could run the
I
ball.
agree.
Now all of a
I
sudden,
agree.
why? And also this, every single running back came off the board in free agency day one. Like there was
Yeah.
no running backs left. So you telling me that the running back is not valuable, but yet every team wants.
No, he
I'm
said.
not-
He said. He said.
I'm not
He
telling you that
said
the running
Jerry.
back
No,
is
I'm
He
not
said.
saying
He
Josh.
said
I'm not
Jerry.
saying Josh.
Right.
I'm not
Right.
saying
Got you.
Josh. I'm saying the league in general. The league wants to pay the running back less, but they want the running back. All them running backs came off the board,
Yeah, they did.
regardless of Saquon's injury, regardless of Jacob's injury, regardless of how old Derrick Henry is. He didn't come off the board the first day, probably because he was weighing some stuff out. But hey, he already
with the
on the
Dallas
team.
Cowboys.
Yeah, like they was dropping.
The Dallas Cowboys.
Teams was dropping other running backs like Aaron Jones like flies, and then another team swooped in and picked him up. They was gone. So that's what I'm saying. Like you act like it's not significant, but we know it was very significant, and we also know that hey, we can't. We've been through this already. Like you need a run. Dak needs a run game.
Yeah, but you know it's pretty hard, and I'm gonna lose even more faith just to know if Jerry and Steven, if that's what their thing was, that the contribution of Tony Pollard this year. That's the reason why they want to let him go because of that. If that was their their definition or their whatever they did to come up with this idea, horrible,
So
because
I think
it
they're
wasn't
looking
accurate.
at.
It wasn't accurate.
You're
Yeah.
right. So I think they're looking at the Super Bowl winners.
But
and they're
that is how they construct contracts too, Dad. Like it's
Yeah.
really jacked up because
Yeah,
you
but
can like literally what we were talking about. It happens to players all the time where where the coordinator will decide, hey, we're just not gonna throw you the ball. We're just not gonna run the ball to you. So when it comes contract time, because you're in a contract year, hey,
Right.
you only did this. Your production was this. Well, my production was this because y'all couldn't run. My production was this because the center was not that good. That's
Right.
why my production looks the way it looks.
Which we 100% agree with you. On
top of you trying to use me like Ezekiel Elliott, when we had Ezekiel Elliott, you was using me how I was supposed to be used. Now all of a sudden I'm not good enough to be on the team.
See, that's why I thought. See, that's why I thought they was gonna go get Henry. I really did. I thought that was going to be solidify our back, but didn't happen.
They should have got Henry and Pollard, or at least Henry and Rico.
I didn't expect them to do that because I just didn't expect them to drop that kind of cash because I know how frugal they are, and and we had a reclarification on what all in means. So as soon as Jerry said all in, he did not correct himself or tell us exactly what all in meant until a couple days ago, and it wasn't him; it was his son Stephen Jones. But we were all speculating. What does all in mean? We had a whole podcast.
Yes.
All in does this mean that we're gonna go out and acquire players, and put around this team to run it back again? Because Jerry said he wanted to run it back again and try to improve on what we already had as this foundation.
Right.
Or was all in meant all in on our players? Well, it's the latter because you can't tell me all in on our players because half of our roster is gone and you ain't, and then it ain't about getting new players, acquiring new players because all of them is just coming off the board. And then Stephen Jones going to come up and have a press conference that, well, all in for us meant all in on our players. They're like, we're all in on the Cowboys. No, more like all in on the coaching staff, and that's about it.
Them all in on their book, that financial book. That's what they all in on for themselves.
And so like I don't for themselves. So like for all of you fans out there that think that like, okay, oh man, this quarterback is taking he's $60 million up against our cap. Like the only reason why they would have $60 million up against the cap would be because of the fact that they're not going to extend Dak Prescott. If I told you that Dak Prescott was up against the cap, even like of last year was $26 million, and the year before that was $19 million, and the year before that was like he was even the highest paid person on the on the roster. Like he wasn't even the highest cap hit. The last 2 years he was the highest cap hit, and then the 2 years ago he was the highest cap hit by $1 million, and this last year he was the highest paid by $9 million. And like given the output of the quarterback, I think that it matched. Given the output, right? You're having I understand he flopped during the
playoffs.
The playoffs, right? But he was the main reason for the team's success, right? So they were throwing the ball, everything was going through him, right? And for the team's success. So like, yeah, he probably should have been the highest paid person on the team, right? And the person beneath that was DeMarcus Lawrence. And we're just talking money here, right?
And I not think even that going into the 2022 seasons, we said who the best players on the team was, and Tony Pollard was one of the best players on the team. So to me, I felt like the franchise tag and the money he got it applied to what his production was from the year prior, and they didn't want to pay him earlier, so we got what we got. And then now we have a different offensive coordinator, and you got what you got. So
I also do think that while it was the offensive coordinator, like Tony Pollard didn't really find his stride until like late in the season, right? Let's not forget that. I mean, he was coming off of an injury and everything like that, right? Could they have helped him a little bit more? Yes, they could have helped him a little bit more. But I do think though that he was really finding his stride towards like late November, early December type deal. And I still don't even think that he was like where he needed to be even in the playoffs, right?
Well,
Because either
I don't think they
they
had him
lost faith in him.
right. I don't think he had him in the right position to play. To excel anyway. So I hear what you're saying. I just don't think, and you're right about what you said. I just don't think he was in the right position to play.
Exactly. Like I do think that too, especially this the last game. And I'm not going to just say like it wasn't Dak's fault and stuff like that, but I do think that if you wanted to, what could have helped Dak out a little bit more, right, was utilizing your run game, right? But they have such a simplistic run style, right? So it's everybody knows what you're going to do, right? And that all comes down to like your lineman. If your lineman's telegraphing your plays, like it's going to be extremely hard. Like one of the reasons why
not even telegraphing, just can't get push. Like he just not big or strong enough to move guys. Like Zach Martin's moving guys, but hey, if his center can't help, clear the gap out, then what Tony Pollard? How many times do we see Tony Pollard get stuffed in the backfield? Like
too many times.
3 years ago, they even were saying like when Lyle Collins was playing the right tackle for them, they're like, yeah, the reason why we could stop them was because Lyle Collins was pretty much, you could tell what type of play it was because Lyle Collins was telegraphing his plays. His stance was a little different, right? And we could tell like what the type of play was going to be just based on his stance. So not just them, like it could be other people that's telegraphing the play. Who knows? It could have been the center too, right? It could also be the play calling and everything like that. Like your center's not blocking the way he needs to block, right? So you can't go up the middle like you're supposed to. Right? I don't care how good Zach Martin is. I don't care how good Tyler Smith is. Right? If you don't have a
It's like we're losing you there.
And the running back.
All
so
right.
it's good. So it's definitely going to be it's just interesting on how Tony Pollard was used in the Dallas Cowboys era, and I'm pretty sure he's going to be used in the Titans era. So yeah, that's just me.
Yeah,
right?
I'm curious to see.
They're just doing a horrible job.
Yeah, you're right.
Definitely interested to see that Titans offense too, with Calvin Ridley too going there. So
yeah, I'm my eyes going to be and see what they do. Because I totally agree with you, and I'm gonna be watching to see what's happening.
And all of our depth is gone too. So I don't know what we're gonna do because we have no depth.
Like no depth at all. And it's like there's so many ways that they can free up cap space. They're not freeing up cap space.
I'm not even worried about cap space. I'm more worried about player acquisition. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like if they're reasoning,
this draft, they're gonna have to hit. They're gonna have to hit every player this draft. The players that they acquire are gonna have to be worth 2 players.
Exactly, and they're gonna have to start your first three draft picks. They're gonna have to start. They're gonna have to. If you're not picking up anybody else, they're more than likely going to be starting next year in 2024. Later this year they're going to be starting. Whether they're good or not good, they're going to be starting next year, and that is very scary to see. Where and you don't have high draft picks, so typically your 24s through 30s, right? Those are the type of draft picks. Those are like rotational guys, and they're like almost your red shirt years, right? But now we're making sure these guys are going to be playing.
And you don't have a 4th round pick.
Yeah. On top of that, you don't have a 4th round pick.
So they're really in the hole.
So
right
yes,
exactly.
That's why you think they'd have did more in the free agency, because we don't have that great.
Free agency is not over. So free agency is not over. I mean, I'm not gonna. I don't want to try to for the Dallas Cowboys.
It's over for us.
But
everybody else having a good old time. Like they got something to talk about.
Jones.
Like if you're the Chiefs and you got Marquise Brown, Like you're like, oh snap, we going back. Like we got a receiver now that can
even if
stretch the field.
even if they didn't get anybody, they had the excuse that they won the Super Bowl. They're okay with their players.
Man,
Right.
They won the
look,
Super
But
Bowl.
that's
But they
my
even
point.
then,
Like they're like,
they even
oh no, we want more Super Bowls.
we want
So
better.
what we gonna do?
We want better.
We gonna go. We're gonna re-sign Chris Johnson so he never touches the market, and we're gonna go get us another receiver who's a speed who can take the top off, and we're gonna run it back. Like
You know,
we're
I
gonna
thought,
re-sign our corner.
you know,
Like,
I
oh,
thought they was going to
goodness.
get Jefferson. Oh man.
Oh yeah, that trade rumors. Nah.
Jefferson.
I
That
would
would
have
have been like
wrong.
KD going to the Golden State Warriors.
Yeah,
That
for
would've
real.
been-
I'd have like,
Who
no
knows?
way.
Who knows? They might. Who knows? The Dallas
Yeah, you're right. They
Cowboys
could still do it, but I
Well,
hope-
they're going. They
like,
they
it would be
probably
cool to
they
watch,
probably
but
sign
not
him
to
though.
watch.
The Minnesota they're going to sign him, man.
Diggs.
Nah,
They
there's
still-
Nah.
no way Buffalo trades with the Chiefs.
Well,
There's no way Buffalo trades. With
No, I'm talking about the Cowboys.
oh,
Oh, the
Cowboys?
Dad, you think Buffalo would trade to the Chiefs?
Man, but
That's like us trading to the Packers. I ain't trading nobody to the Packers or 49ers. Heck no. I don't care. It could be Michael Gallup. I'm not trading. I might trade Michael Gallup.
right.
Hey,
You giving my
he's
Gallup up
actually- he
anyway.
actually might be-
That is funny.
But
He's actually probably about to get picked up too. To be honest with you, he's about to get
Michael
picked
Gallup?
up too. So
I thought,
He is.
yeah. I hope so. I hope he goes and finds his second wing because sometimes that's what player need. Like look at Noah Brown for the Texans. So,
yeah,
Yeah.
but speaking of our rivals or who win trade teams to, let's talk about the Commanders, the Eagles, and the Giants. And how y'all feel about what they doing? You know,
Well,
How
I'm
you
not
feel
too
about having to
particular.
see-
I'm not too particular. Word. See, even what New York. I think New York was almost in the same boat of us, giving up everybody in a sense. But Philly, Philly, and Washington though. Ooh.
I told
They're
y'all
doing things.
Washington is coming. I told y'all Washington. Look, Washington is
Washington,
like
I'm
Game of
still
Thrones.
not-
They like the frost. The winter is coming, and Washington might stand for winter.
I
Washington-
do think that they're. Yeah, I do think that they're formidable, but I don't think that they're like formidable enough to be like, all right, we're about to.
Okay,
We're about
Right.
to
They took
scorch the
everybody-
earth.
they took
You
all
say
of our good
that?
players.
You say that? Yeah, they took all our good rotational players. So
Yeah.
and then who knows if they can elevate and become really, really good starters. But if you take what they did and then you add the spot that they're in the draft, and if they can hit on all their picks in the draft, they might come around and win this division this year.
I
would say
don't believe that.
the only thing is with the quarterback spot. Like that's the only thing. You get away Sam Howell, which I think you should have kept. Should have kept Sam Howell.
Sam
because I
Howell was
would
actually a
have
pretty
more-
good quarterback.
Yeah, and I think if you bring in Austin Eckler's, having Zach Ertz, and then if you go get say, hey, we want Marvin Harris Jr., which they could have did. They could have grabbed him and throw him to Sam Howell. But I'm just like, their defense, and then if they could go grab some defensive players, they go grab. Look, they don't have such a high pick in the second, third, fourth round that they could draft the top running back. They could draft, a top a linebacker. They can get a Chop. They can get a Cooper. They can get a lot of these guys because they have the first pickings. And then after the draft,
I do. I just think
after the draft, and then combined with their free agents, you might look at it differently.
Right.
You think they're gonna get like Drake
imagine them in the second round end up with the boy from Texas, the receiver.
Oh my gosh.
Xavier whatever.
Xavier
Yeah.
Worthy.
Yeah, Xavier Worthy, or even a Keon. I can't think of his last name. The DK math comparisons he gets compared to, like that's even another weapon. But like they have a lot of different ways they kind of building this
To
foundation.
still increase.
Yes, they built this foundation, especially because Dan Quinn is familiar with a lot of these players, and he gets the most. And look, they got Bobby Wagner too, and they got I don't know how to say his name, but I think he was from the Giants. Obadu.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh no, they just resigned. Yeah. So they got like a lot of nice pieces there that they can complement with, the draft and might do something. So I'm like looking at the Commanders and I'm like, man, here we go.
They still gotta like they're I don't know. They just gotta they still got a ways to go. Like even with their even like they got names, right? Austin Eckler, Bobby Wagner.
They
I do
got
believe that.
they got ways to
Lulu.
go. I think as far as this rebuild, they're ahead of as a acquisition of the players they have. If we look at what the Texans did with that team, imagine if they pull a CJ Stroud in the first round, and now you're looking at that same team and you're like, okay, they can do something with that team.
I still think if CJ Stroud goes to this team,
That says a lot now. Be careful.
CJ Stroud goes to this team, I think there may be like an 8-win. Like with this team now, I think they're an 8 or 9 win team. They're an 8 or 9 win team. I really do. I really do. And I mean, they'll be formidable, right? But I don't think that they're going to be like. I just
You
the
said
overall
with,
teams of
with CJ Stroud, they'd be an 8 team. So I guess if they don't get a CJ Stroud, you said they're going to be like the bottom of the division.
no, I think okay. So 8 to 10. I'll say 8 to 10. 8 to 10 win team.
I'm saying 10.
Right?
I'm saying 10 to 11. Did he get 11?
Nah, 8 to 10. 8 to 10.
With I'm
8 to 10.
saying
I think that
I'm saying 10 to.
I think
I'm saying
and
10
even
to
in the
12.
past because the defense for the how'd you say the Texans, they weren't that bad last 2 years ago. So I mean they knew they had some pretty good. They had a pretty good squad as far as defense goes, right? And so like I last year the Washington Commanders, they were not good. They were not good defensively, and their bread and butter
It was
was their
horrible
offense.
defensively.
Yeah, and
Right, but it was not because they didn't have good talented players. There's a lot of great
for the
talented
Washington
players.
Commanders,
They didn't have great
I
talent. They didn't
disagree.
have talent. They did have talent on that defense.
Who?
So you're saying Chase Young isn't a talent? You're saying their interior
He
D
left.
tackle wasn't
I'm talking
talented?
about he.
Well, yeah,
You said
but he was
Chase
a
who?
part of that bad team. That's what I'm saying.
But he
I'm
left,
saying
and there was another one that left.
And I'm saying if I have Dan Quinn and I see what he did to our defense in the regular season, and he's top. You don't even think Mike Zimmer is going to do better than Dan Quinn. So if you're saying that, and now he has Bobby Wagner and he has a lot of the other pieces that helped us be great. I'm thinking if they can pull a CJ Stroud type player, and they get some receivers because these receivers in this draft is plentiful, and he can go grab 2 different types of receivers on top of the receiver that he already has with McLaurin, and, and be really, really good. And they have Austin Eckler and Zach. Like they could, oh man, I don't know. I like the Commanders' chances of winning this division over us more than I think the Eagles could. I'll say that.
I
if they get
a
quarterback, if they get a good quarterback.
They have to get a quarterback. They have to get some cornerbacks. Their cornerbacks are not good. So they have to get cornerbacks, and then they have to get some.
But if my
people on the
pass
line.
rush is good, that'll help my corners.
Who's your pass rushers? Your pass rushers are
What do you mean?
Dorrance
Your
Armstrong.
pass rushers are, yeah. I know they can get to the ball.
So you got to remember, Dorrance Armstrong was coupled with. I
saw Fowler get to the ball. I saw Fowler get sacks. I saw Dorrance Armstrong get sacks. I know they can do it.
They were coupled to the ball because they had DeMarcus Lawrence.
They didn't always have Mika on the field when they did, though.
They had DeMarcus Lawrence though. They had DeMarcus Lawrence, and DeMarcus Lawrence was double team, triple team.
Don't make
so
me
yeah,
do
they're
this.
gonna.
Don't make.
Go
me
ahead.
Don't
Go
make,
ahead. Do
don't
it.
make me
Do it.
Come on, man.
Do it. You're saying
Come
that
on.
DeMarcus Lawrence was not good.
I'm not
Last
saying
year.
DeMarcus Lawrence is not good. No, but I'm saying he wasn't demanding doubles and triple teams like if Mika was on the field. I'm saying they still had to do their job and fight, whoever is in front
I
of him.
promise you.
They get you like
I
6
promise
sacks.
you, he had a lot of doubles on the field. I promise you, DeMarcus Lawrence had a
But
lot
I'm
of doubles on the
saying,
field.
I'm saying that them dudes can get you 10. I'm saying them dudes can get you 10 sacks,
Combined.
and still people won't
Combined.
double them. No, a piece.
Who can get you 10 sacks?
6 to 10. Dorrance Armstrong, Fowler, and who was the other one?
You saying they're gonna give you 10 sacks a piece?
6 to 10 sacks. They can get you 6 to 10 sacks.
Each, they're gonna get 10 sacks.
I don't know.
They're gonna
about
get you
that.
6 to 10 sacks.
Yeah, they can. I think they have the potential to get you 6 to 10 sacks.
Yeah, that's hard
And
for
then
me
you
to
got
believe that one.
Payne, and then you got Payne.
Saying,
Because they still
a
have
team like
Payne.
the Dallas Cowboys.
They still have Deron Payne. Yeah, they can do it. They can go get that.
I'm
They
going
have
to
Bobby
watch
Wagner.
A piece?
Look, I say 6 at the least, a piece. Yes.
But you said they can gonna get you 10 a pop.
I said 6 to 10. Now you trying to move 10. I just said at least 6. I said they can get 6.
So they're gonna get you six
So
per.
if that's 6 coming from Armstrong, 6 coming from Fowler, and then another 10 to 12 coming from Payne. Yeah, I can see this. I can see them being formidable, bro.
So you can see Dante Fowler giving you 6 to 10 sacks. That's crazy.
I can see it. More. What do you mean? It's crazy. I'm expecting him to get more reps.
Oh wow,
It's hard to get more reps on the Cowboy team. You can't see it on the Cowboy team because there's too many dogs on the Cowboy team. But if I'm going to a team that has less depth, and I can get on the field more, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I could see that. It's a projection. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
All right.
It's just a projection.
Yeah, well,
if I'm expecting Dan Quinn to be Dan Quinn in the season, and I got Bobby Wagner back there, orchestrating everything. Hey man, I don't know.
So Dante Fowler's gonna go from. So Dante Fowler's gonna go from. I mean, this is not the Dante Fowler when he was at his peak. So he's gonna go from 5 sacks to 6 to 10 sacks.
If he got 5, then if he got 5, then he can't get 6 to 10. He can't get one more sack.
Okay, now check this out. Check this out. Let's.
So anyway, so I would say this. Hold up. Let me say this. So I think that yes, the Commanders have become more formidable, right? To the point where yes, there's a possibility that they can beat the Dallas Cowboys once,
And Dante Fowler got you 4 sacks in 2023, and he got you 6 sacks in 2022. Just saying. Just wanted to put that out there.
Okay. So not the same defensive line.
Don't look too far.
If he's also older. So
there's a lot of old guys out here getting to the ball, Josh.
Okay. So he's going to be a rotational player, clearly. So here's the thing. I think that with the Philadelphia Eagles, they done a fantastic job when it came to player acquisition, right? And they're going to be probably the most team that Dallas is going to have to look at to get over the hump. Not only because of the fact that they did a lot of player acquisition, but now they're in a second place schedule, right? So you're in a second place schedule now, and you got a lot of more people. So now it's a lot. I won't say a lot easier, but it's going to be easier for you to win games because you're not playing with the powerhouses of. I know it's either one or whatever, but that one or two games can get you over the hump, if you understand what I'm saying. So with that being said, I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be the hardest ones. I do think the Dallas Cowboys still have, for the most part, their core players. They still have their all pros, with the exception of Tyron Smith. I do believe that, though, if they get a running back in the free agency, which is probably not going to happen.
What's their core players again?
uh, DeMarcus Lawrence, Mika Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, Deron Bland, uh, Jordan. If you want to put Jordan Lewis up at there, Stephon get
You're talking about our
Stephen
defense.
Diggs.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna go to offense too, right? And so they just got a linebacker. Who knows what's going to happen with Jonathan Hankins, right? So they still got their players on defense when it comes to offense, right? So the players they still got their quarterback, they still got their wide receiver, right? They got a up and coming tight end, right? They got their right tackle, they got their right guard, they got their left guard or left tackle or whatever like that. Like so, they're gonna really need to. I mean, there's a player out there if they really want to get him, they can get him. That's in free agency that played
Who?
almost just as good as Tyron Smith last year, and is a free agent. Who's that? You're
Oh,
asking
you're
who's that?
talking about. Are we still talking about Dallas?
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, so there's a player out there that's that that didn't play on Dallas that played just as good as Tyron Smith if the Dallas Cowboys wants to acquire him. But who knows?
Which they're
Probably
not.
not.
So why would we even bring that up? Because they're not going to go pay somebody like that.
Yeah. So
Go ahead
there.
and tell them. You gonna bring it up and be so anonymous? Tell them who you want. Who you think they
Oh,
want,
who do I think they want? I don't think they want him.
or
I
who
said
they
they
should
could
go
get
get?
him.
If you were Josh,
Oh,
Cowboy
David
GM.
Bakhtiari. David
Hey,
Bakhtiari. So David Bakhtiari played just as good. I'm saying just as good. Played almost as good as Tyron Smith last year. So I mean, I think he was all pro and did a couple Pro Bowls. I mean, that's somebody that if you want to back up your 50 or 45 to 60 million dollar quarterback, I mean, there's to go. If you want to have a better running game, that's what you go with, right? If you want to like make sure that your passing game and running game is good, get him. So I mean, for the most part,
get him.
for the most part, Dallas Cowboys have their their core players, right? Now, do I think that they're going to go over the hump? No, like, and that's the thing. The thing is, everybody knows the Dallas Cowboys are going to can win you game. They can win the division. They've done it for years now. They didn't win the division 2 years ago, but they still had 12 wins. They know that they're a good winning team, right? The thing is what they do in the playoffs, right? And as Jordan was saying, you got to get a running back, right? You got to have a running offense, and you have to have a run things. You don't have to depend on the offense going up a couple of points, and so that way you don't have to worry about the run game because of the fact that it was a good mask for your run defense, right? Or you don't have to or you have to start passing the ball because your running game was bad, right? So it can mask the running offense and the running defense. So what you're going to have to do is get a defensive tackle, another linebacker, right? And so from what I heard, I think from my family here that Mike Zimmer's is not a bad pickup. So he has the type of person that's how should I say that he's fluid. He not doesn't stand with his play calling. If the play calls for one thing and he had originally something else, he's going to go for whatever the play calls for, right? So that's a good thing. So I think they are a couple pieces away of being either where they're at and also going over the hump. So it's up to the Dallas Cowboys. This free agent season is not over, but they're going to have to do
It's
a lot of
over.
stuff.
It's over. So let's talk about other teams because I'm tired of talking about the Cowboys because they ain't nothing but boring. Anyways, we still got. I think they got to worry about the Eagles,
It's the Dallas
especially
Cowboys
because
podcast.
it's not Dallas Cowboy podcast. We just talk about the Cowboys because that's our favorite team, but it's supposed to be a sports podcast. It's not called. It's not called the Dallas Cowboy podcast. It's called Setting It Straight with Fam. So
I wonder what
right,
that
that's
banner
right.
on the bottom says. Does it say, "How about them Cowboys"? I mean, I don't.
because
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
Cowboy fans, but
Yeah,
we're
that's
supposed
right.
to be talking about objectively about all teams and all
That's true.
all facets.
That's true.
Hey, next podcast, just put a red line on there and just say, "How about them NFL?" Just put that there, and then we'll be
What
good to
you
go.
can still say how about the Cowboys because we talk about the Cowboys, but we can still talk about other things.
Right. All
I'm gonna
true.
I
still
mean, we
always have
can.
this
Go
background
ahead.
up because this is my favorite team. amongst all
Go ahead.
sports teams.
Go ahead. Talk about the Philadelphia Eagles and how they're gonna flop again. Go ahead.
Father again, but you got them to because you don't have us winning the division, Josh. So who's gonna win the division? Because you didn't have us win. Now I'm curious. Who's gonna win the division?
If they stay right here, the Philadelphia Eagles, does it mean that they're not going to flop?
Exactly, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about what the Philadelphia Eagles did and why I think that what they did so far is pretty good. They have an outstanding.
Go ahead, Ted Prescott.
They have an outstanding O-line as it is. They're gonna have to figure out what they're gonna do at center. Probably gonna end up taking one of my favorite picks in this draft, which is Jackson Powers, or Powers Jackson. But the pickup of Saquon, coupled with Jalen Hurts, I think they're gonna get back to what they were doing in 2022, which is just run crazy.
Who's their offensive coordinator?
Who is their offensive coordinator? But with Saquon Barkley, with Saquon because hold up, Saquon Barkley, the most elusive back in the league, is about to have what he's never had in his whole career of playing in the NFL, is an O-line. And this O-line kid here can move people. We have not.
Who's their offensive coordinator?
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low. This O-line goes where Saquon wants. So we got something to really worry about. We got something to worry about.
Who's their offensive coordinator? I forgot.
Why are you trying to pick? Who's our offensive coordinator, Josh?
It's better than their offensive coordinator.
Their offensive coordinator did the same thing that our offensive coordinator did. Get bumped out in the first round of the playoffs.
Of course. Want to know who their
and we all knew that they was going to get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs.
So let me explain to you who their offensive coordinator is.
It's a new year. It's a new season.
It's a new year, new season now. I guess
it is every year.
So
at least they got somebody.
Mike McCarthy doesn't get that experience.
With Mike McCarthy because we already know. What are you talking about? This is different for the Eagles.
Can I tell you who their offensive coordinator is?
Go ahead. Tell everybody their offensive coordinator.
Kellen Moore. Go ahead.
And guess what? Guess what Kellen Moore did?
Go ahead.
For Dallas. What did Kellen Moore do for Dallas? Tell ladies and gentlemen.
Put us number one in your offense?
Not win the Super Bowl. Go ahead.
Not win the Super Bowl, Dad. That's all he can do.
Right,
they had
exactly.
An air-rated they had an air-rated offense, right? Air-rated offense, and they didn't had anything to do with.
But he also had a nice run game because Ezekiel Elliott was tied for fifth in touchdowns in 2022 when he was on the back end of his year, had 800 yards. Tony Pollard, I think, had 1,000 yards in 2022. So he knew a little bit something. And I'm saying, when we already know that they're gonna run the ball, and it's gonna be really easy to run the ball.
It helps when you have a competent quarterback. But go ahead.
Jalen Hurts isn't at least competent. I know I talk a lot about him throwing the ball, but competency?
Let's see. All right.
Now he's not competent. I don't.
Okay. Okay.
Look, Josh, take off the Dallas Cowboy hater hat for a second, okay? I get it. We don't want.
Okay, Jalen Hurts is a competent quarterback, but I don't think the pairing with I don't think Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts are too. I don't think they would gel well together. They're just not. That's not the quarterback for Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's not the coordinator for Jalen Hurts.
But if you're a good coordinator, which I believe Kellen Moore is, and you have the weapons around, especially what he did for Dak, and
what did he do for the Chargers?
Scheming those weapons. First of all, his quarterback got hurt. A lot of his running back got hurt. His receivers got hurt. A lot of people got hurt on that offense. So
when he had the quarterback, right? When he had the quarterback, how good was the quarterback?
When he had the quarterback, how good was the team?
How about this? Let's put it to last year when they played the Dallas Cowboys.
When they played the Dallas Cowboys,
he was a better team.
Yeah, we were better. Yeah. Okay. They still didn't have Eckler when they played us. Anyways,
I'm just trying to figure out how good.
Now all of a sudden, Kellen Moore is not a good coordinator. Kellen Moore's a better coordinator than our coordinator, Josh. Come on, stop it.
There's no way.
On, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to go with that. I'm gonna have to go because you know
how is that?
How is that? Bro. Stop
that?
it, bro.
Be- be-
Stop it, bro.
because
Okay, so we're gonna take a
Was
track
Dak
record.
Prescott?
We're
Was
gonna-
Dak Prescott number 2 in MVP?
We're gonna take a track record of he did this for 5 years. He had top 10 offenses for 5 years. He goes to another team, and a lot of things didn't go well due to injuries. So we're just gonna take that. We're gonna hey, your 5 years, erase that. And we're just gonna take this and we're gonna move forward. And when you're on this team, the Eagles, hey, and you got Hurts, and hey, he ain't gonna.
Hey,
do it.
as-
So I
Is that what we're doing?
okay.
Is that what
So
we're doing, Josh?
I guess Mike McCarthy's a great offensive coordinator. By that
great.
logic. He's a
By
really
that
good
logic.
offensive coordinator. He's a really good offensive coordinator.
Okay, hold on. Answer
By
this
what
question.
logic?
Answer this question. Did McCarthy did anything different from Kellen Moore?
Mm-hmm.
He did.
He
What did he do? He ran more. What did he do?
Yep, he did. He did run more. He did run more. So, but the thing is,
The run was the focus. Because that's what he
The run
said
was
he
the
was going to do.
focus?
Yeah, because that's what he said he was doing. That's what he said he was going to do. It looked
didn't
like
say the run-
it looked like he
he
was
didn't say the
running. It
run
looked
was
like
gonna
he
be
was
the
running. It looked
He's
like he
gonna
was
say-
running a Kellen Moore offense. That's what it seemed to me when I was watching.
Towards the back end.
Yes.
The back end of the season, he was running.
it looked like he was
Yes.
going to be.
Yes.
That was not
He's
a
not
Kellen
in-
Moore offense. The Kellen Moore offense was not.
You're right.
that.
You're right. Because when things got tough,
Kellen Moore changes.
yo, not that Kellen Moore changes. Kellen Moore takes more shots down the field when things get tough. But when things get tough for Mike McCarthy, it does not. It turns into slants and comeback routes, and we're just gonna keep running the ball up the middle, up the ARB gap. And
That's
it ain't
funny
gonna go
because
nowhere.
for Kellen Moore, they said it was about a bunch of stops and hitch routes. That's what it said for Kellen Moore. It was a bunch of stop and hitch routes.
But it's funny though. I can't.
I don't remember them saying that, but I do remember the problem with Kellen Moore was they was letting that they kind of blamed him for the picks. That's at least from
Yes.
Mike McCarthy's
Yes.
perception.
Yes.
They kind of blamed him for the picks.
He's throwing too
saying
much.
that he threw too much.
Yeah. But,
So if I scale it back, and
So I guess Mike McCarthy is doing something better if he didn't throw as many picks. I mean, I'm just
if you want to give him that, sure, Josh.
so did
Sure, I'll give him that.
it throw that much picks the year prior to the year that he had all of those picks? So you're not gonna give him credit for that.
he is not number one in touchdowns. I can tell you that. I can tell you that.
This guy.
However you slice it, he was not that.
Anyways,
How you
America. Anyways, anybody who's watching this podcast, Kellen Moore might be really successful with this as much as Josh probably doesn't want to see it because it's the Eagles. I'm gonna be objective. I like football. I love the players.
That's weird. That's weird because I had last year had the Eagles as a very formidable team. So I don't think it's just my haters coming out. So I guess I'm this year I'm going to be a hater this year because last year I wasn't a hater. I was a hater against the Cowboys, but this year I guess I'm going to be a hater against Philadelphia.
You were saying you saying it was good when they weren't. That's what it was.
They were good because they started out really, really, really good.
I don't even know how they got those. I don't even know how
they
they was getting those wins. To be honest about it, and it wasn't like they were blowing everybody out.
It was getting lucky.
That's what. Exactly.
It rolled into their favor until something went off the wheels. You know, they finally, because even when they played us, it was like we was right there. It was right there. Everybody was always right there. Even the Chiefs. Like the Chiefs game was crazy. They was right there. But regardless, I mean, I don't know what happened towards the back end of that
Season.
Those last seasons. Yeah, I can't tell you what happened. And as a Cowboy fan, I'm happy. And you know, I was laughing at y'all, and y'all get to laugh at us because you know we expected y'all to do what y'all did in the first round. Well, we didn't expect us to do what we did in the first round, and it's okay. It was a pie on my face, you know. So y'all got the last laugh. But anyways, y'all are going to be really interesting to see with Kellen Moore, with Jalen Hurts. I don't expect. Who knows? Jalen Hurts can get better throwing the ball. I mean, every season a player can improve. And what does Jalen Hurts?
I agree.
What Jalen Hurts? We all know what Jalen Hurts needs to improve on. Let's see if he can take it there by being able to be a better thrower of the football. Coupled with Kellen Moore, I think that would be great to see. I think it's going to be good to see. And then Kellen Moore could even cater, to Jalen Hurts style, especially having weapons like AJ Brown and having a weapon like Devontae Smith. I think having the weapon like Devontae Smith, I'm pretty sure Kellen Moore is licking his chops at because he loves throwing the ball. And putting in a situation. And sometimes too, Kellen Moore was really good at scheming and getting guys wide open looks. I think if Jalen Hurts has a wide open receiver, I think he can hit the target.
Oh yeah, I agree.
So I think if Kellen Moore is able to get his receivers a lot of better matchups and better open looks, I think Jalen Hurts will be successful. He might. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this. He's probably gonna have the most passing yards that he's ever had in his career, which is not saying much.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say.
But on the Kellen Moore, I agree. But check this out though. But I'm glad that Kellen Moore is. I do believe Kellen Moore is a really good offensive coach. But Jalen Hurts, he's not that accurate of a quarterback to me. I don't see him being as accurate as Dak at all. I do believe Dak is better, believe it or not. And he's on. Would it be more successful over there? I don't know. I'm just as a Dallas fan, I'm hoping not. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see. We'll see.
Well, one thing I will say this though about the Philadelphia Eagles, right? And hate them or love them. Their general manager, Howie Roseman, is one heck of a manager. You could say like he's throwing a lot of shots in the dark, or throwing a lot of shots in the dark, left a lot of darts in the dark, however have you. But what I will say this is though that at least one of them or two of them or three of them are going to hit, right? So he's trying. He's putting names out there, and they might be. Yeah, I mean, some people might be caught washed or whatever like that, but he's actually doing something that the Cowboys are not doing. They're like the Philadelphia Eagles. I don't even know how they're doing it because I don't even know how they have the cap space for it. But they're signing guys and they're manipulating the cap, something that I've never seen the Cowboys do. So good on Howie Roseman, right, for putting all that out there. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I mean, they signed the linebacker that I was saying that Dallas needed to take was Devin White, so they went and go, and especially because they had the same problems on knees that we had, so they went out and got a Devin White. I mean, they're not afraid to go out and get players. They make sure every stone is not unturned. They go make sure, like, if you call them and tell them, hey, I might got a guy, they gonna go find out if they got a guy. They're gonna go bring them in and they're gonna test them out. And and that's what they're doing, trying to get back to that Super Bowl. And I can't be mad at how they're going about it. And so it's going to be interesting to see, especially Eagles. Outside of the Eagles and Commanders, the Giants are not interesting at all to me.
Nope.
I don't know what they're going to do.
They have the best coach, though.
We'll see what Dan Quinn does. We'll see what Dan Quinn does. I mean, I can't, as much as I do not like Sirianni, he did go to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, they loaded that team too.
I mean, but he still had. There's been a lot of loaded teams. I mean, Eagles are one of the teams that had a loaded team that didn't get to a Super Bowl when they had Mike Vick. They had Shady McCoy. So you can have a loaded team and still not make it anywhere. But the New York Giants. The New York Giants, they're going to have a lot of work to do. They need to figure out what they're going to do at quarterback and receiver and, running back. So they got a lot of holes too. They also might take a look. The players that we want in the draft, everybody in our division might take those same players. So that's why it's really hurting me as a Cowboy fan to see them not hitting free agency and to rely on the draft when everybody in the draft has the same needs as you.
Yeah. And in front of you.
All in front of you.
Exactly. Yes.
All right. That's just in our division.
Yes. But all right, check this out. We had a good time today. I enjoyed the back and forth. I enjoyed the ideas and the points and the takes you guys had today. That was really good. All I know is Dallas Cowboys better do something because I have too many friends that's, Philly fans, and my brother-in-law is a Washington Commander fan, and he loves calling, talking trash to me. So, Cowboys, Jerry, Steven, I don't know what you plan on doing, but you better do something because I'm not coming here listening to some nonsense. That's the way it's going to be. So, if you guys, this is your first time ever being with us, I need you to go ahead on and look down and hit that subscribe button. Also, make sure you hit that thumbs up button because, if you want to hear it straight, you want to hear it right, that's what we're going to do. We're going to set it straight because we fam, and that's what we do. Take care.
Peace.